Hi guys, I hope you've really enjoyed your bank holiday weekend. It is now half term and the children are off school. Dun, dun, dun. But I have managed to get rid of them for you for a couple of hours so that I can give you a tutorial on how to turn this really cool old oil lamp into a rather groovy rustic lamp. Okay, so I did a quick bit of googling and found out from this bat logo and the name on it, Dr. Pendant, that this is actually an old World War II German oil lamp, and you know, it's been through a war, it's going to be a little bit dusty and a little bit rusty, but we're not going to let that put us off. We like a bit of rust. The patina on it I think is going to be really gorgeous once we get off a bit of that muck, and also because this is going to be in a house, I want to seal it to stop it rusting any further but still keep that beautiful patina that it's got on it. So I'm going to show you how to do all this with household products, okay? So what I am using is bicarbonate of soda, otherwise known as sodium bicarbonate, same difference, okay? You might have this in your cupboard for baking cakes, and some of you might even whiten your teeth with it. It's really, really great as a household product to use, which is very cheap. You can buy it in loads of different places, but it does bring things up nice and clean because of the little bubbles that it creates, okay? And all you've got to do is just mix that with normal tap water. I have some wire wool here, which I've got a few different things to try. We'll see how it comes up. I've got some quite fine sandpaper, an old scouring pad, and a toothbrush of a person that I really dislike. But you could obviously just get an old one. Oh, I think it's got a pube in it as well. It's not really, I got it out of the bin. But yeah, we're going to use an old toothbrush as well, because I think this is going to work out best, because we're going to be able to get into all those little nooks and crannies on there. So you just literally mix that with some tap water I have here, and I think we should start by taking this apart. I've had a little bit of a fiddle, and I think I've worked it out, you know. This is going to be fun. You ready? You can actually pull this whole page up and then you can get out the glass, which is a little bit fiddly. There we go. So now we can clean up all of this part and the glass, and then we can put it all back together again once we've sprayed this. I'm actually going to move the glass out of the way so I don't break it. Right, let's get ready with the clean up mission. We're going to mix up some bicarb soda now. So let's get the little saucer and the toothbrush. I'm sure the toothbrush is going to be the best idea, so we'll go with that first. I'm just going to tip out quite a bit. There's no exact recipe for this. I mean, try it out and see what you think, but I'm going to use quite a bit. Put that there. You can also obviously add more water or add more bicarbonate of soda as you go along. I'm just going to mix it to a kind of a watery, pasty consistency. Put some more in. Let's really go at it. So I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to move these out of the way and let's get cleaning. Just going to start in like a circular motion. So already that's turning literally like brown, black muck. So I'm just using the toothbrush going round in a circular motion, and I'm just working the mixture into the rust. and I'm going to leave it a couple of minutes and then rinse it off and see how well it's come up. Obviously you can do this more than once, do it a few times, and there are also lots of other ways to remove rust from metal as well. It just depends on the kind of finish that you want to achieve. So I mean, you can use white wine vinegar and soak rusty objects in that for 24 hours. If you wanted to get absolutely all the rust off an item and it's quite a solid metal item, you could use an angle grinder to get it off, but be careful. But I think this is a nice, cheap, easy way of doing it, and because I want to keep quite a lot of the rust on there, I just want to remove a lot of dirt and the surface rust, I think this is a, you know, cheap, easy way of doing it. I decided to move back onto the tray because this was really starting to make a mess. Do make sure that you wear an apron or something if you're doing this. Like, don't wear your Sunday best to clean this up. But it's coming up really nicely. I'm starting to see the beautiful rust underneath. And it's just taken off all that surface muck. Almost 100 years of muck on this. And you see, look, the underneath that we're getting down to the good stuff now. Next stage is we're going to sand this, ready for the lacquer, just to make it a little bit nicer when you touch it. So I'm going to use a 120 sandpaper. It's pretty fine. I'm not going to go mad on it, I just want to take off that surface roughness. The lantern has come up really lovely now. I've got rid of all that really scabby kind of rusty feeling, and it's quite smooth to the touch now. The rust isn't gone completely, you can still see it. I mean, the bat logo has come up absolutely awesome, it looks really cool, and it's just given it a good clean and made it much nicer to the touch. But it is still putting orange on my fingers. That's the thing with rust, it just does, doesn't it? So for that reason, we're going to seal this piece so that no one gets stained fingers, and it also feels lovely, and it's going to really bring out the colour of the rust a little bit better as well. So to illustrate this to you, I have already sprayed half of the bottom, and you see the difference there. So this part, which has got kind of a bit of a wet look to it, is the part that I've sprayed, and you can see the colour of the rust has really come out nice and deep. And no more orange finger. So we're only going to do 1 or 2 coats of this because I don't really want to give it that gleaming look. I just want to seal it and give it a uniform kind of glaze to it. So what I'm using is this Simonz clear acrylic lacquer, and really it's made for cars, so you'd use this after you've sprayed your car panels with paint. Yeah, so we're not going for that majorly gloss look, but that would take quite a few coats built up over time to achieve that. So we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to start spraying this baby, okay? So what you need to think about, if you've never done spray painting before or sealing with a spray, then you should definitely test out your technique on a piece of cardboard. You don't want to hold the item too close. Maybe, I mean, always read the instructions, but it's usually like 30 centimetres away, and don't hold in one place too long because you're going to get runs. Just kind of feathery strokes, if that makes sense. I'm going to show you anyway. Also make sure that you shake up the can. Like, you need to shake it for like 2 minutes, because otherwise all your chemicals and things in there are not going to be mixed properly, and it's just not going to work properly, okay? So let's get shaking. We are fully shaken, not stirred now, and I've moved my little table out of the way because I'm going to actually spray this in mid-air, because I can move it around quite easily like so, and I can always spray this top bit at the end. And see how I'm moving this, I'm not staying in one place too long. How the lantern looks after one coat of lacquer. It's actually come up really well, so I'm quite pleased with that. I don't want to spray too much lacquer on there, so I think what I'm going to do now is just spray the underneath parts there and in here. Give that another 15 minutes to dry, and then we can put the cable in. So our lamp is dry, touch dry at least, and now we're going to do the cabling. So I'm going to bring over my little tray of goodies and show you how we are going to do this. Number one, I have hollow threaded bar. Now I get this from Lamps and Lights company, I think, which I found online. I am going to put everywhere that I found these products in the description underneath, and I will also put what they're called. So this is M10 hollow threaded bar. It has a herl through the middle, can you see? I don't know why I'm squinting, I'm not looking through it. Which means that you can thread things through it, which I find is really, really helpful for lights. Then I have I'm using a threaded or braided flex to go through here. I thought it was quite in keeping with the light, and I just think it's nice. You can get these in all different colours. They actually sent me a little bag of samples as well, so yeah, all different colours, different patterns, effects, you know, whatever you want to go for. So we'll be using that. I have an aged lamp holder, and that's what holds your light bulb, and that actually screws in to your hollow threaded bar like so. You getting the idea? I also have, because one of the bolts that's on top is going to be on show, so I've actually found a really old crusty bolt which I'm going to use, which is quite in keeping with it. This, I only had one of those bolts. It's just a one-off that I've taken off something and kept it in one of my little pots. So the other bolt is just going to be this new shiny one, but you're not going to see this one because it's going to be up underneath the lamp part there. I also have two washers, and you shall see how I will use these in a minute. These are both M10. M10 is the whole size, and that basically means that they fit M10 stuff through them. So get everything the same size together, okay? If you're getting an M8 bar, then you will need M8 washers and so on, okay? I also have wire strippers. These are, well, they make life a lot easier, especially if you're going to be doing a few lamps. They might be worth investing in. From what I remember, I think these were only about £13 or something from B&Q. You might be able to get them cheaper elsewhere in proper like tradesman kind of stores or whatevs, but you know, it's not a lot to spend if you're going to be doing a few lamps. I also have a menagerie of different little screwdrivers and bits and bobs on here, and I have a torpedo switch, which is basically one of those switches that go, you put it in the middle of the thread, because I want this way. I want this hanging up from the ceiling, so there's going to be quite a long cord and it will plug in obviously somewhere, but I want to put this probably nearer the plug than nearer the lamp, because if it's hanging up somewhere it's just going to look silly. I'm going to be able to reach it. Okay, but you can also buy lamp holders that have the switch on there, so say if you were making a table lamp you could just turn it on by putting your hand in there. But with something like this, because there's glass over it, this is the kind of thing you need to think about. Do I want to have the switch on the lamp holder? Because then I'm going to have to mess about trying to take the glass out, and that might be difficult because there's going to be a bulb in it, and do I want to do that? Maybe not. So first of all, we need to cut our hollow threaded bar. So I did a little bit of measuring up, and I've worked out that I need this much bar, and this much wire will be going through the bar. Now, because this is braided, it's actually quite fat, so getting it through that hole is a little bit difficult. So I've actually stripped off these two pieces, okay? So I've marked my hollow threaded bar. Now I'm going to cut this with this big beast of a table saw behind me. If you don't have one of those, you can cut it with a hacksaw, it just takes slightly longer. Okay, now you must wear glasses for this. I know I'm always on about safety glasses, but honestly, this is extremely dangerous. If a piece of this metal hits your skin, it hurts bad enough, but imagine it in the eye. Oh, it'd be game over, it'd be so gross. So I've already clamped down my machine as well, because I don't want that moving about while I'm trying to cut either. For the next stage in the proceedings, you can take off your uber sexy safety glasses and set them aside. Now, I have my braided flex coming through my lamp with my small washer and my rusty nut on top there, okay? You need that so you can tighten it up later. I also have my hollow threaded bar threaded onto my braided flex. If you find it makes your life easier, you can take some of the material off the flex so that you can get it through the bar, okay? So, before you wire up the lamp holder, remember, big washer, nut, screw that on there, then go in with the lamp holder. So, screw the base of the lamp holder on. Then take your earth, which is your green and yellow, and you're going to put that in the little earth terminal there. Right, now this is going to turn into a lamp. You ready? Pull your flex up through the hole, line that up underneath, and first of all tighten your top nut while holding the one underneath. You don't really want your bar moving around. Go on there. And then tighten the one underneath. So you're not screwing the lamp holder when you're doing this, you're screwing the nut that you put on after the washer, okay? And that's to hold it in place. If you screw the lamp holder up, then the wires inside are going to get twisted, okay? And then it's going to pull out the holes, and then you're going to have to start again, and it will be very, very annoying. And then we're going to move on to wiring our plug. Bear in mind, unless you're in England, you're going to have different types of plugs and they're going to wire up differently, so always check the little paper insert that comes with it and just follow that. Even though I've done this like 100 times, I still always follow the little insert just because like I've got OCD and something, I don't know. I just like to check. It's always best to be safe rather than sorry, isn't it? So obviously you can buy plugs all over the place, your local DIY store, you can buy them online, you can buy them in a range of colours, or you can spray your own. Make sure you don't get any spray inside the plug and make a mess of the internals, because that could stop it working obviously. So I have already cut back some wires. I've cut back some of the thread. You want to make sure that you don't have any fraying thread if you're using a braided flex. Don't have this anywhere near these end pieces of wire that are going to connect with electricity, because if you do, that is a fire hazard and it's very, very dangerous. Once all your wires are in place and you've made sure that none of your braided flex is anywhere near any of the terminals, you can then put on the lid or the casing, screw the screw in. It's all very fiddly. So your plug's all wired up, and now it's time for the torpedo switch or rocker switch. So this is what it looks like. It's got a little switch in the middle. This particular one, you need to wire up all the wires inside. Some of them you only need to cut one of the wires inside. So do check when you buy it what type it is, okay? So you don't really need to see me. Shall I show you this? Maybe I'll show you it quickly. But you do need to look at the manufacturer's instructions of your particular switch, or make sure that you're wiring up correctly, okay? I've said it before and I will say it again. I'm not an electrician. I'm not actually teaching you electrics or anything here. You do need to make sure that you're doing these things properly. Follow the instructions. Do not blame me if you get a shock or blow yourself up, okay? I'm just trying to inspire people. Plug on one end, torpedo switch in the middle, and this goes to the lamp. We'll put these over here. Make sure you don't plug it in at the mains or anything before you have your light bulb in there, and you are 100% sure that you have done your wiring correctly and you're all set, okay? So I've got a really nice little light bulb here. I chose this light bulb because it's got a kind of vintage look to it, but it's not massive because I haven't actually got a great deal of space with the lamp holder in the lamp, if you can see. Once that goes in, and I've also got to get the glass around it as well, this is about the biggest that I can fit in there, and I quite like this traditional design as well. So I'm going to take my glass. Now this is going to be fiddly as well. This wiring up business and making a lamp will test your patience, particularly if you've got quite big fingers as well. Just one more check that I haven't plugged it in yet. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I've got to pull this up without rolling that off the table. Okay, so that's rolled up. As you can see, there is just enough room to do that. Put the glass in place. Push this down gently. It's all fit on there perfectly. Right. Ready for the moment of truth. Is this going to work or is it not? Don't give up the day job, babe. Oh. Beautiful. And our torpedo switch, yep, turns it on and off. I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, guys. I have really enjoyed making this lamp, and I've actually made loads of different things into lamps which I will insert here. you now have the tools and the tricks of the trade to turn anything into a lamp. Household items, mannequins, whatever you want to turn into a lamp, you can do it now, okay? But I ask you one favour, please send me the pictures because I'm really, really nosy, okay? And you can be featured in my Upcycling SOS in Reloved magazine every single month if you send me your upcycling questions and queries. Also, I feature one person's work every Wednesday on my social networking and my What Did You Do, What Did You Make Wednesday feature. Yeah, something like that. Hashtag, what have you made? What did you make? What have you made? It's something or other. Look at my Instagram. I do know what I'm talking about sometimes, but just not today. I'm tired. Okay? So have an absolutely wonderful week. I love you all. Mwah. Goodbye.